Hey everybody out there, this is Dragnix here, and I sort of want to do a vlog today because this is the sort of strongest topic on my mind more than anything else. Because it's come up a couple of times over the last couple of days in my head, and I sort of want to put it out there to you guys, sort of let you guys respond to it, and, you know, make sure that you guys know what I'm doing in terms of the content of this channel, for those who regularly watch it. And for those who regularly watch it or even irregularly watch it, I thank you for watching this stuff. This is something I'm trying to make a career out of. I know I put a bunch of money away. I am trying to make this financially viable, but without you know, changing up, you know, my drive to give games the coverage that they deserve more so than anything else, aka give good games the, you know, sort of spotlight and say this is a game that you should take a look at, while, you know, telling you to avoid games that, hey, you know, this game doesn't do anything new or interesting or has a lot of problems with it, while matching the games that may be somewhere in the middle to the people who are accordingly, genre matches, stuff like that. Over the last couple of days, though, I mean, like, especially today, I started to take a look at Epic Cards Battle, and I started to realize that I was concerned that I was starting to force my opinion to get a video ready and you know, prepared for the day. I've only played it for a couple of hours, and I was like, okay, I got to make my opinion on this now. And I'm sitting there going, wait, I didn't do that before. I made sure that before I made my opinion of the game, I was rock solid on exactly what I thought the game was. And I think by sort of this rush to get regular content out, I've sort of lost that in a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. The opinions that I've always had are the ones that I've always had. You know, it's based on the information that I've perceived at the time, and to the point of I felt comfortable enough with it. But I'm also concerned that the sort of drive for content has sort of driven that back, where, you know, I'm maybe not looking at it objectively enough to say, okay, hold on a second, you know, maybe I need to give this game a little bit more credit, or, you know, maybe I'm not being as harsh on it as I thought. And some people have, you know, some of my friends have, like, you know, are you getting burnt out on stuff like that? And it's not that I think I'm getting burnt out on it. It's more so the fact that I want to sort of go back to the quality stuff that I've been wanting to do. I definitely like my First Impressions series more than anything else. The sort of edited content together. I always look back at the Schrodinger's cat video, and I'm proud of that one, because, I mean, not only did the developer start using it as almost like his trailer, but I thought it was, you know, the kind of content that I really wanted to make. You know, give the game its due credit, give the game the attention that it deserves, and sort of dig down into it more than anything else. I definitely like that content more than my, like, Let's Try series, which they all have their own strengths and weaknesses, but I definitely feel like at times I've rushed it more than anything else, and I think I want to stop that. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, why? What changed in the last couple of weeks? The thing is that I was actually watching a Total Biscuit Q&A session. I was actually part of the Q&A session, asking a question about, you know, what advice would you give to a starting up YouTuber who's doing critical content? And he didn't have a really good answer in terms of, like, he's unsure how he got to where he is. But he said regular content is important. And I think I took that the wrong way. When we meant regular content, I'm thinking of like a 9-to-5 job, you know, every Monday through Friday. But I think it was more so the fact that when looking at it at a retrospective, that I'm not going, you know, periods of time in which, like, my channel's not getting a video for 2 weeks. More so, I think, giving you guys regular content and quality content within that time. If I go a day or two without a video, that the video that comes out next is of reasonable quality in my mind. I think that's where I'm starting to realize that maybe I've been looking at this incorrectly. Maybe that's where I need to focus on. Like, over the next couple of days, I mean, I've got right now a couple of Steam keys that I'm looking at in terms of games. I'm looking at Rocket League. I'm looking at Guild of Dungeoneering and Luckslinger. and they all right now are games that are worthy of my attention. I don't want to rush anything, and especially with Rocket League, where I see a lot of potential, however, some issues with the servers that could really hold it back. And with that said, I think I want to, focus on that more than anything else, not give you guys quality or non-quality content in the sake of getting you guys content. And I think I've lost sight of that at this point. And so I think I'm going to step back on that and focus on the quality more than anything else. Now, is this sort of exasperated by my frustration with growing the channel? Of course. Again, the PR stuff has never been a strength of mine. I don't like putting myself out there in terms of, saying, look at me. I want to be a helpful person, but I have to realize, if this is a business, I got to put myself out there. I have, again, I put a bunch of money away. I've used some of that money to, do ads for the channel. But, it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't think anybody who's starting up on YouTube is happy with their growth rate necessarily. They may say they are, but, at times they can be frustrated. And I think I've hit that point, but it's not I know it's something I need to change, and I just got to figure out what. It's nothing to do with the people who are watching. That's who you have to make the content for. Realizing that you have to have your own standards for things, but understand that you need to look at it in a way that gets them the information that you want them to have and they need to have for these games, being entertaining in some way and informative as well. Entertainment is an interesting concept in the idea of, critical content, especially nowadays in the sort of new YouTube world where you can still be entertaining and still get the information across that you want without, sort of damaging the information in question or, being facetious. A lot of people use the idea of clickbait on, articles, and I don't never want to go down that route. However, if you look at something like game theorists, where, their titles look like clickbait, but in fact they back it up with facts and information, that's more so what I want to be. Now, I've also, been really considering, okay, maybe I should just do all my stuff over at Tech Raptor. And, I've gone back and forth on that. I've gone really back and forth on that. When I do something at Tech Raptor, I want it to be of a professional quality. And I also want to give it time of day. I also sort of like the idea that the sort of YouTube channel in terms of my stuff is under my control in terms of, like, I am the lead video editor there now. So technically I'm in control of the videos that go out. But, it's still under, certain circumstances. People are still releasing videos without, going through a process. I need to actually create a process, obviously. But, I've thought back and forth on that. And I don't want to sort of lose the channel that I'm worked so hard on. But I've also realized that, there's more exposure there. There's more information that I can get to people there. And I've wondered back and forth, hey, is that the better option here? I still like, I know this is starting to sound weird, I still like Dragnix. I still like my own identity. And I do like the fact that I am working at Tech Raptor and doing all that work, but I also don't want to sort of lose that in the process. So it's been a really interesting couple of days thinking on everything that's been going on. And I still love doing this kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong. If this sounds like a defeatist or, frustrated kind of a video, it's a frustrated video, but it's not a defeatist video. It's more so, what do I need to do to fix this more than anything else? Not questioning whether or not this is the right stuff for me to do. No, this is definitely what I want to be doing. It's a matter of what can I do to make it better. And it's the same thing that I was experiencing when I was, working in the software engineering world. How can I make this better? And what made me leave that world was the lack of control I had. Here, it is under my control. And that's what I do like about the situation. The fact that, it is up to me. It is frustrating at times, but in the end, it's also definitely worth my time and definitely have learned a lot. Just the other day, going out and seeing my, cousins at a Chili's, I realized, saying something about my sort of, ability to talk with people, I think, has changed, and sort of being more casual more than anything else, and being able to, you know, entertain in certain ways. So, I mean, in the end, even if this does fail in the end, I think that it was a huge step for me as a person, and an improvement as, you know, who I am. Do I still want to make sure that this is a success? Oh yes, most definitely. But I got to realize, you know, I got to look at this, I got to step back and take a look at this and be like, hey, you know, let me think about what I'm doing here. I'm doing something differently. I'm doing something, I need to change something. I do want to get your guys' feedback on this, though. I do want to make sure that I don't isolate subscribers that have been on this channel for the sake of my own concerns if I'm not looking at this correctly. So I would love to hear what you guys think about it, you know, what I've just said. I know it's not the same videos as you're expecting, but I want to make sure that you guys, I'm interacting with you guys. So, all right, this is Dragnix signing out. Thanks you guys for listening. I know that's me just sort of getting stuff off my chest. Again, like I said, next week you can expect content regarding Gilded Dungeoneering, the Rocket League maybe over the weekend more than anything else, and Lux Slinger, and then probably another game or two. So I will see you all later. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this content and want to see more of it, you may want to hit that subscribe button on the left hand side. If you like this video and want to see more of this content, take a look at this video on the left hand side as well. And if you've missed my last video, take a look at the right hand side. Once again, thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.